Hello, hello, and welcome to this very special season of Let's Talk Value. This season is fully dedicated to our latest book written by a set of 5P experts in the field of healthcare, The Next Tango, a patient guide. That also recently became a #1 bestseller on Amazon. Yay, we're very proud of this. This season is fully sponsored by 5P Healthcare Solutions, a boutique consulting firm dedicated to transforming healthcare through value-based healthcare and multi-party collaboration. I'm Hanna Boëthius. I'm co-editor and co-author of The Next Tango and the host of this episode. And I'm so delighted to have two of my co-authors here with me today. These are the wonderful authors of Chapter 2, The Provider View on the Role of Participative Research for Value Creation, Claudia Canella and Claudia Witt. Welcome.
Thank you for inviting us.
Of
Thank
course,
you.
it wouldn't be a full season without you two, because you have done a fantastic contribution to this book, and without you, there would not be any book. So very, very happy. How about we start off very easily with a little introduction? Tell us who you are.
Yeah, sure. I'm Claudia Canella, one of the two Claudias of the book. I'm a qualitative health researcher specialized in participative research and working at the Institute for Complementary and Integrative Medicine in the University Hospital in Zurich. And they're making sure that people who are affected by a health issue in question get involved into all our research projects from the beginning. Would you agree to that, Claudia?
Yes, I do. I'm Claudia Witt, the second Claudia here in the team. I'm trained as a medical doctor and epidemiologist and have currently the chair for complementary and integrative medicine position, so the professorship at the University of Zurich. And we're doing this for a long time, stakeholder engagement, participatory research, and that's the reason why we are happy to be part of this book.
Wonderful. Speaking of that, why did you decide to contribute to this book project?
For me, it was a really nice occasion to talk about values in healthcare in an environment of collaboration. And then might even go a step further and co-create a vision of collaboration in healthcare rather than standing at the sideline and feeling helplessness about it. So, yeah. What about you, Claudia?
I'm very honest, it's hard to get me to contribute to a book chapter because being a scientist, we are often sitting in our ivory tower. And for us, different kind of publications usually count in our track record. But being so long in the field of participatory research and stakeholder engagement, I always realized that when you write these fancy, nice scientific publications, that's not what patients read at the end, and also other stakeholders. So for me, this is really close to my heart to have also the opportunity to bring what we have learned on our way to those who hopefully use it in the future and implement it. So I was attracted by the mission which is behind this book, really to increase participation also in the research field, in medicine and wider.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that. And that's really something that you bring up a lot in your chapter as well, that the goal is to conduct research projects with the people rather than for or about them. And you show this in a few figures as well. So I think this is a really important point, and perhaps even leading on to the next question, which is what is the key message from your chapter?
I think it's exactly this, what you said. Our aim was raising awareness for exactly the research, the idea of research with the people rather than about them. And then also in a second step, like reflecting together what this actually means in practice and with which potential and challenges it would come. And in the book, we described it as 6 areas of governance, I think, and it's participation, accessibility, but also about human and financial resources, then shared language, and at the other end, also implementation and communication. I think, yeah. Do you have anything to add to that, Claudia? When it comes to main message?
Yeah. I think we want to convince also clinicians, researchers to be more open-minded, to be participatory, because they are still quite hesitant. It's not that they don't like the idea, but it takes resources, including financial resources also. But I think we very clearly show that it is possible. We have great examples that you can do it, that it is feasible, and I think we can also show that you have a good outcome afterwards. And within the chapter, we do our best to provide really hands-on guidance on the points which Claudia just has mentioned. So I would say people can do it now, perhaps with having a lower threshold to get started than before.
Yeah, I had to say your chapter is a very, like you say, hands-on chapter. It's almost like a blueprint for others who are working in maybe not the same, but similar fields and similar positions as you to do your very important work in. And I think this is really a very good recipe to get participatory research cooking in other parts of the world and maybe even other parts of Switzerland. I'm not sure, but let's see what happens. I hope it reaches the message of this book and the message of your particular chapter reaches your colleagues and both near and far. So I'm very happy that we have this mode of communication, as you said, which was one of your governance areas, to show others that it is possible. So thank you so much for sharing that with us. So if we just cast away a little bit further on into the future, how do you think that we engage with the other Ps in 10 years' time?
That's an exciting one, I think. Although I don't think it's so like skyrocketing. I just hope that the collaboration between the 5 Ps get institutionalized, or I envision that in terms of funding, but also of having a common space really institutionalized. And on the other side, also about the shared values. I think that's my hope. And I also envisioned it as being supported with digital health solutions, but I think Claudia has also to say something about this field.
My most beloved topic, our
I
digital
know.
transformation, not only in society, but also then directly in healthcare. Um, Perhaps the first point, I think when we not use digital tools, it can be easier to interact. So when I think about our beginnings doing stakeholder engagement, always organizing the on-site workshops, the travel costs and everything. We do now most of our participatory workshops with stakeholders online with really modern, creative methods. And more will come in the future. 10 years are a very long time when we think about digitalization. But the other side is also when we think about user-centric approaches, it's a big topic in digital tools. And so at the end, if companies develop something which is not what the users really want and or can use, it's not really feasible for them to use it or to complicate it, they won't use it. So I think the feedback might be much harder in a digital world if something is not user-centric developed. And thinking at the moment about all the AI tools, which are there also in medicine. We are not there yet that we have the feeling AI tools are user-centric developed. Very often, and there's also research about it, they are technology-centric developed. So it's produced what can be produced. Whereas really seeing where are the pain points, where are the gaps, and developing AI and other digital tools for this will be the future, because only then companies in the future will be really successful. So for this, I would say the digitalization supports more integration of the 5Ps.
Yeah, that's a fantastic point that you make that, technology, I mean, just if we take a very close topic to my own heart, for example, technological tools for diabetes care. They can be very technologically forward thinking and they are designed to fit, every single whatever they need to fit. But some of them is very, very clear that people actually living with the condition have not been anywhere close to the development part of them. So this is a very big, um, very topic very close to my heart. The user centricity and the fact that people who are actually using it every day and need to have it as a part of their daily lives are actually along in the design process, that they are along with the goal in mind, that they have co-created and collaborated on the actual goal of the solution, which is so still unfortunately a bit unusual, but we're getting there. We're getting there. This book is
They're
a
getting
step.
better, but still a long
Yes,
way to go. Yeah.
absolutely. It's getting better, absolutely. But we have the more we can talk openly about this and make more people perhaps understand the importance and the value of this, of co-creating and collaborating within healthcare in all kinds of fields, whether it's research or, all the 5Ps. I think that's very, very important. So thank you for bringing that up. I think that's a very valid point for the discussion going forward as well. So I also went a little deeper through your chapter again. I mean, I've probably read it about 20 times, but sometimes you just need to read it one more time to really fish out the proverbial raisins in the cake. And I really like that. There's also a figure in your chapter, but I really like the sentiment they have in there of we often form a stakeholder advisory board in our projects to ensure key stakeholders are involved in every stage of the research and the decision making. And this is, of course, exactly what you were saying before, but really just highlighted in a very, very concentrated sentence. So I was so happy when I read it the first time that you actually highlighted this in your very few pages, relatively, of your chapter.
Yeah. No, and I think for us it's also important when we publish, then our advisory board members, and if there are patients, they are patients, they are also on the publications.
Yeah, that's a big thing because that is also not common generally in the world of research. Sometimes patients are consulted, but they're not really acknowledged anywhere, which, you can think whatever you want to about that, but, it's not. If they have contributed, right? And I think a proper, at least a little note or something would be doable for most people.
It's not always easy, but Claudia
You
Canella
know,
is a great moderator. So when we as scientists, we always try to speak in plain language when we are in these meetings. But if we don't do, Claudia is really reminding us that we have to rephrase because it's not the job of the patients to be good in the scientific language. I see it as our job to explain what we mean also in a lay language.
yeah, I think that's important because not everyone has the um, education or the literacy or even the health literacy to follow a full publication. There's certain, things you have to have in a publication, and there's certain wording that you use, and there's certain things about the methodology and the results and everything. So it's not easy all the time to understand, especially not if you don't have a background in the scientific space. So I think lay language is so important, and especially communicating this to the relevant stakeholders.
But I also think it's not only about the people affected by a health issue. but also about the other stakeholders. Even among researchers, we cannot assume that we speak the same language.
Yeah.
And
It
we
also,
should.
while in the beginning, the two of us,
All
Claudia,
right.
social scientist, I'm a MD and clinical researcher, so we come from different, science backgrounds.
Yeah, and it's really, I think, a thing you have to work on when doing participatory research. And also about, about the compensation for the work. Oh, sorry, that was my door. That was a huge, that's a huge topic. It's not so easy because co-authorship maybe for researchers are really important, but for patients often not so much. And you have to find out together what is the form of recognition really suitable to the single stakeholders, I think.
And I
Yeah,
think we're coming a little,
absolutely.
sorry, we're
No,
coming a little bit back to what Claudia said also in the beginning. Funding is important, but overall, I would say incentives are important because collaboration is not natural per se. So very often it needs motivation, it needs incentive. For some, these are the publications. For others, it's financial support or it's recognition in a different way. And this also has to be discussed within the group.
yeah, definitely. I think that's very true, and it also brings it back to sort of the root of this whole book. The Next Tango is really, the co-creation, the collaboration, making sure that it is. We're getting a little bit onto the topic of sort of precision medicine, but let's not go there. Let's not take that's a huge topic, so let's not take that today. We'll save that for another episode, I guess. But just to make sure that that it suits the individual, whoever they may be, whether it is the patient receiving care or if it is the contributor receiving recognition for their work. I think it's a very, very good point. So that's great that you've also managed to highlight that in your chapter. So thank you so much for that.
Pleasure.
Fantastic. Well, thank you both so much for sharing your insights and for being part of our dream co-author team, Claudia and Claudia. If you are curious to learn more about how we can support you as neutral brokers in your journey to healthcare transformation, let us know. We are happy to help, and we are happy to catalyze a diverse set of diverging interests among the 5P, the providers, pharma, the patients, the payers, and policy. Have a fantastic day and see you soon.